All right. So, hey, everyone. We having some technical difficulties with our slides and also getting Dr. McGowan's video up. So what we're going to do, I've got her on my trusty phone here, and we want to make sure that we get the slides out to you. So what we'll do is we'll go through the myths and Q&A just as we plan to do, and then we'll make sure that we post with the slides a little bit later. So thanks everybody for joining. Thank you for your support. I know some of you we've been reaching out and you expressed some interest. So thanks again for joining. This is our first Facebook Live session at WA Lifestyle and Wellness Center, and I'm so excited to have you all to be a part of our community. Before we get started, just wanted to give you a little bit of information about WA Lifestyle and Wellness. We believe that true health is about balance, sustainability, and education. That's really the true essence of the Japanese concept of WA, which is balance and harmony. We take a holistic approach to the whole person, weight loss and maintenance. We focus on nutrition, metabolic health, and lifestyle habits. So this is the perfect Facebook Live, first Facebook Live for us. We're also an authorized Ideal Protein Clinic. We provide personalized coaching support to help you achieve lasting success. And I don't think I introduced myself. I'm Cassandra Smiley, one of our Ideal Protein coaches. If you want to learn more, we'll shoot some information into the comments section so that you can sign up and maybe have some time with me and learn a little bit more about WA. But what we really want you to do today is to put your questions in the comments box. Any questions that you have for Dr. McGowan about metabolism and losing weight. Speaking of Dr. McGowan, I'm so excited and I have the privilege to introduce her to you tonight. So Dr. Sandra McGowan, she's not just a physician, as you'll soon find out. She's a real advocate for whole person wellness. As a board certified family medicine doctor and the medical director of WA Lifestyle and Wellness, she spent her career serving communities and empowering patients to take control of their health. She founded McGowan Family Health and Wellness Center to bring personalized, science-based care to her patients. And today, she's here to help us separate metabolism and weight loss facts from fictions. So get ready for some powerful insights. And I'm going to say, welcome, Dr. McGowan. Would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining. As Cassandra stated, I'm a family practice physician who has a strong interest in lifestyle modification, changing diet and exercising to help people be healthy and live the best life they can live. So with saying all of that, we can go ahead and get started with our discussion for this evening. Our metabolism is made up of what we put into our body, how our body utilizes what we put in, and then our body actually storing some of that energy and releasing some of it as waste. So when we think about it, our food is our energy. It's the energy. And so when we eat fats, we eat proteins, we eat carbohydrates, those things are all a source of energy. It goes into our body metabolizes it or breaks it down. And when our body metabolizes it, it breaks it down by like the activities we're doing, exercising, how active we are. After our body, metabolizes and when we metabolize and use things for energy, we get rid of it as waste. So that waste is carbon dioxide, which we breathe off, and water, which we get out of our body through urination and sweating. Our body also will start storing storage of the energy, and when it stores it as fat. So our goal, really, when you think about metabolism, is you want to put out more than you bring in so that you can lose weight. So that's kind of metabolism in basic terms. So if going back to our first myth about metabolism, so slow metabolism equals weight gain, that's not necessarily true, because what do we really consider to be slow metabolism? Our metabolism is based on multiple things, like I said. So the more you bring in, the more you're going to have to do to get rid of, to get it out. So if you don't eat as much, you're still burning your normal amount of energy or calories, then you would lose weight. So that is not a myth. That is a myth, I should say. Slow metabolism does not always equal weight gain.
Awesome. Well, if you have any questions related to that, make sure that you're putting those in the comments below. We'll get to those shortly. So our second myth is that certain foods speed up your metabolism. What do you think about that?
I would not necessarily say certain foods speed up our metabolism, so I'm going to say that's a myth. What speeds up our metabolism is being active, eating the right food, so eating healthy foods, making healthy food options, getting quality rest, quality sleep, decreasing our stress, so keeping our life as stress-free as possible will help also keep our metabolism at a steady pace. So there's no food I can't say, let's go eat a bunch of spinach, and I'm just using that as a random thing, and it's going to make your metabolism speed up. Now, what I will say is if you eat certain foods like high protein foods, those things do help kind of not necessarily speed up your metabolism, but they help you lose weight because they make you feel full more quickly, and therefore you won't eat the wrong things, and I'm using air quotes. So if you eat a high protein diet when you first thing in the morning, you'll feel full faster. So it'll decrease the likelihood that you're going to go eat the bad foods, going to get the sugary donuts or the bagels or cinnamon rolls, something that's unhealthy. So I would say that, eating high protein foods will help you lose weight, but it doesn't necessarily speed up your metabolism. It just makes you feel full so that you won't eat the things that are unhealthy.
Excellent. I know that there is a fad kind of going around. I don't know if it's a fad or not, but I've seen it on TikTok where people wake up in the morning and within 1 hour they eat like a really large serving of protein. What do you think about that? Do you think that there's some credibility to that?
I don't think I would necessarily say there's credibility to it. I won't discredit it, but I think the reason why people are losing weight with that, trying that sort of diet or concept is that because, like I said earlier, if they're eating a high fat, a high protein meal, say in the morning you wake up, the first thing you do is maybe drink a protein shake or eat some boiled eggs or eat something that's high in protein, you're making yourself feel full. And when we feel full, we're less likely to crave the high carbohydrates. We're less likely to crave the fatty foods and the things that cause us to get the calories and the energy that we don't need. So people are probably losing weight because they're not snacking as much, they're not eating fast foods as much, they're not eating bad foods as much, so they're losing weight because of that.
Excellent. And then the last myth that we have before we open it up for questions is that you must eat every 2 to 3 hours to keep a high metabolism.
I would not say 2 to 3 hours. That might be being extreme. I would say you want to eat frequently, eating frequent meals. But to maintain a good metabolic state or a good metabolism, you want to eat healthy foods. You want to eat balanced meals, and you want to be healthy with those balanced meals. You want to put healthy snacks in between some of those meals, but you most importantly want to make sure you're getting proper sleep. You want to make sure you're staying hydrated, so you want to drink a lot of water. You want to drink a lot of water. You want to make sure you're eating high protein foods, because not only is that giving you the energy sources you need, it's also helping keeping your muscles strong. And you want to make sure you're getting quality rest, getting 8 hours of sleep a night, decreasing your stress as much as possible, because when we're under a lot of stress, our body produces stress hormones, and that in turn causes us to gain weight. So it's a number of of things that go into being healthy. There's a number of things that go into maintaining a proper metabolism or metabolic health.
Excellent. So I'm going to take a look and see if we have any questions. Shout out to everyone who has joined. I see you, Felice, Uncle Otis, Aunt Idella, my brother Ron. So shout out to everybody. And I know we've had some people to join and that had to drop. Does anyone have any questions? We'll open up to see if you have any burning questions about your metabolism.
And while we're waiting on people to ask questions, I think it's important for us to probably not really, I think in society and in, the media, we overuse the word metabolism or we use it inappropriately. Just in simple terms, metabolism is just how we process the foods we eat to produce energy. So it's what keeps us going. And, we always hear the term when people say, well, they got a fast metabolism or I have a slow metabolism. That's not necessarily true. It's that certain people aren't doing certain things to help increase the amount of energy going out. We have to stay active in some regards. And it doesn't necessarily mean going and running a marathon every day. It could be something as simple as 10 or 15 minutes of some cardiovascular exercise, 10 or 15 minutes of some resistance training, because that helps build your muscles. And in helping build your muscles, you're breaking down the fat stores that are in your body, and that helps you to lose weight. But by breaking down, when you're exercising and breaking down the protein, if you're eating a high protein meal, it helps keep your muscle mass or your lean muscle mass good.
Excellent. Thank you. And I know we talk a lot. Anyone who's a client of ours knows we hyper focus on that lean mass and protecting that lean mass. We do have a question from Ron who says, I've been seeing some who swear on daily fasting. What are you seeing with that?
So I have seen people do well with weight loss that's what we call intermittent fasting. And kind of the concept of intermittent fasting and what we see is that people who do the intermittent fasting, they're putting their body into a state of what we call ketosis, which is kind of how high protein diets do. It causes us to lose weight by burning the fats that we already have in our body.
All right. Hopefully, Ron, that answered your question. Let us know if you have a follow-up on that. Any other questions?
And so I guess to answer his question, I do see people losing weight, but I think we all have to think about what works for one person doesn't work for someone else. And sometimes you have to use multiple different modalities to lose weight. Different people have to do different things. So does it work? Yes. Is it something that's sustainable? Probably for a long term, probably not.
Very good. All right. Any other questions? Comments? All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining. If you want to hear more about WAL Lifestyle and Wellness Center, please join our Facebook group, our community, and we'll get those slides posted a little bit later.
Question.
Oh, there is a question.
Someone asked, how will this program work with someone who has fibromyalgia? I think that's an excellent question, because a lot of times what we know is simplistically, fibromyalgia is a condition where people have chronic pain. It's usually pain all over the body. And what we know is certain foods make pain worse. So eating foods that are considered high inflammatory foods make fibromyalgia worse. So if people have are eating things like carbohydrates, fatty foods, high sugary foods, those foods cause a big inflammatory response. Also, we know that if you're losing weight, you're putting less pressure on your body, putting less pressure on your joints, putting less pressure on your muscles. And this helps you lose weight because by not carrying around all of your body weight, your joints don't hurt as bad. You're not carrying the weight of your body in your hips and knees if you're losing weight. So I think this program helps people with fibromyalgia because by losing weight, you're not carrying as much weight in your body, so your joints are having less pressure and less deterioration because you're not as heavy, quote unquote, as you was before.
Thank you. Looks like we have another question from Vivian. What is sustainable, in your opinion, to keep your metabolism going?
What are you and saying what is sustainable? So I think the biggest things we need to know is that we should be eating a high protein. We should have a lot of protein in our diet because proteins are the building blocks of all of our muscles, all of the enzymes, everything that keeps our body going. 2, we want to make sure we stay hydrated. You always have to stay hydrated because as you're eating a lot of protein, your body is breaking this down through the kidneys, and you want to keep hydrated so that you can clear the kidneys and get things out of your body. The other thing you need to do to keep your metabolism going is getting proper rest. And this is probably going way into more detail than needed, but the more we get rest, the less our body is stressed. That causes our body to not produce stress hormones. We know stress hormones make you gain weight and feel sluggish. So if we're getting proper rest, that means we're not as stressed as we would normally be. If we are decreasing our stress, when we stress out, it's like the whole adrenaline and flight or flight. When you produce those hormones in your body and those hormones start going, it makes you produce other things that makes you gain weight and hold on to things. So the biggest part about metabolism, besides eating right and exercising, is making sure we're getting quality sleep, decreasing our stress, and drinking as much water to clear our system and get things out.
Yeah, that almost sounds like that could be the whole topic by itself for a future live session.
Yeah. So I think that was a good question. These are really good questions. Keep them going.
So Tiffany has a question. Does eating a healthy breakfast help in our weight loss journey?
Yes, it does. And the reason why I say that is because if you wake up, the first thing you do, you've been asleep all night, so you need something to get your energy going as we sleep during the night. So after about 6 hours, our body goes into starvation. So we start breaking down what the stores of things we have. So if you get up in the morning and you eat a healthy breakfast, it replenishes what your body has broken down. And if you're eating a healthy breakfast with things that our body can use, it helps you to lose weight because it's keeping your metabolism going. It's keeping your body active, so you're getting rid of what you're putting in. Because like I said earlier, we want to put out more than we're bringing in. So the key word is eating a healthy breakfast. A healthy breakfast is eating a protein. If you are eating a carbohydrate, it's a good carbohydrate like a fruit. You want to eat a healthy fat. I think a lot of us, we get to the point where we're always doing things in a rush. So for breakfast, we're eating a donut and some coffee with cream and sugar. That's not healthy. Ideally, we would want to eat some boiled eggs. We want to eat Greek yogurt. Maybe if we're going to eat a carbohydrate, eating a fruit, something like blueberries or something that has antioxidants in it. So we want to really stay away from the high sugar things, the bad carbohydrates, so to speak.
And that, I think that gets back to your point of, your metabolism in some sense is dependent on the type of food energy that you're putting in your body.
Correct.
All right, we'll give it a few more seconds, 30 seconds or so, see if we have another question. These are good. You all keep them coming. All right, we have another question from Vivian. Thank you. Can you explain the thyroid and its effects on weight gain? I'm thinking the hypothyroid or hypothyroidism, I think, Vivian.
So I'm going to explain this in simple terms because I don't want to go too off target, but it's actually a good question. So the thyroid, simplistically, is a gland that's in our neck, and it's considered the thermometer of the body. And what I mean by that is the thyroid controls almost every organ in our body. So when people are told they're hypothyroid, it means the thyroid isn't working effectively. So it's not helping to metabolize and break down things like it should. So when people's thyroid is not working properly, they're not breaking down. That whole metabolism thing isn't working properly. So instead of breaking things down, they're bringing stuff in, but it's being stored instead of broken down, and that leads to weight gain. If your thyroid is overactive, you're producing too much of the hormone. So when you're bringing stuff in, your body is just breaking it down so quick that it's leaving out. So it's causing you to lose weight. So that's kind of how when you hear people, we hear a lot in medicine, and I'm sure lay people hear when they can't lose weight, the first thing people say is, I think my thyroid is off. And it's because the thyroid is like the organ in the body that controls metabolism.
I've never heard it explained that way. So thanks for explaining that. It's almost like it never really hits your stomach. It's all kind of regulated here with hormones. That's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. So thank you. Any other questions? These are great. Keep them coming.
And even if you have questions about things that we may not be able to get to tonight, if you can give us some ideas of other things you would like to hear us talk about in future talks. Yes. Yes, everything goes back to the diet. I think we always have to keep in mind eating a healthy diet is going to help with everything. It's going to help us metabolize effectively. It's going to help us sleep better. It's going to help us feel less stress. It's going to help us feel better. Eating healthy and drinking and hydrating are two of the most important things we can do for ourselves.
What about the cheat days? What do you think about those?
So I'm a doctor who does not believe in depriving yourself of things you like on occasion. Everything in moderation is good. So I don't necessarily tell people to have a cheat day, but I do tell people if you know you like something, don't deprive yourself of it, because if you do, when you do eat it, you're going to overindulge. So if you know you like chocolate cake, I always tell people like the holidays is a prime example. People who like sweet potato pie. You know you like sweet potato pie, and you know you can eat a whole sweet potato pie. Do not eat the whole sweet potato pie. Maybe just get a little slice to take care of that craving you may have. And then if you eat that, give it some time, give it a couple of hours, maybe go back and have another small piece, but everything in moderation. But if you're actively trying to lose weight, you probably should not do it until you've gotten to a place where you feel comfortable, and also a place where you feel like you can do it in moderation.
Yeah, I think that's the key term is moderation, and sometimes that can lead to binging, and some of us are more prone to that than others. So got to know yourself as well. Question from Tiffany. Is it true that 80% of weight loss is food and 20% exercise?
Those numbers are probably not accurate. I think everybody is different. And then also when we say exercise, you have to think about the type of exercise, whether that's strength training versus cardiovascular, resistance training. So it depends on what type of exercise. I think you have to have a happy medium between both, and different people respond differently. So I think that's a question you have to sit down with your doctor or someone like to find out your body mass, your lean body mass, and find out what it is, because some people it could be 80% exercise, 20% food. Some people it can be 50-50, so it's different for everyone, but there is some level of both that you need to get to a happy place for you.
So I'm thinking what I'm hearing you say, it's kind of unique, and maybe everybody's, let's say, metabolism could be just a little bit different based on their own genetics or what have you. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. Everybody is different, so you have to kind of know your system and know what works for you. Because I have seen people who work out 2 hours a day every day and they don't lose weight. I've seen people who eat right, eat healthy, eat 700 calories a day and don't exercise and still gain weight or don't lose weight. So I think you have to figure out what works for your body and works for you. And also, I can't stress the importance of getting proper rest and hydrating yourself, because if you're not resting, your body is not going to lose weight properly no matter what you do.
Yeah, and Tiffany, one reason why I really like Ideal Protein is because after our clients lose weight, we assign them a unique macro code, and it goes just to that. It's how should you eat and how should you exercise so that you reach a point where you're not gaining weight anymore. So, and maybe that's another one, Sandy, that we can do. We can talk about balancing metabolism after weight loss. Vivian has a question.
Good question.
Yeah, it was a great question.
That's a great question.
Vivian's question?
Yes.
Okay, so Vivian's asking, what do you think about processed foods like lunch meats and also breakfast bars?
So lunch meats are probably not healthy for a number of reasons, mostly because there's a lot of a lot of sodium in it, and a lot of bad things they put in it to make it processed to keep it so that it doesn't spoil you and so that we can eat it. So I would say lunch meats are probably not a good thing. Breakfast bars, it depends. If you're eating the cereal bars that like Kellogg's and things like that they're probably not good because they're probably full of sugars. But if you're eating like a protein bar, that's a breakfast bar, those are probably more healthy for you because they've been made with a lot of protein and they don't have a lot of sugar. So it all depends on what the processed food is. A general rule of thumb, we should be careful with processed foods because a lot of times those things are made with additives so that they store well, but they may not be healthy. But you have to look at what it is, because some of the protein bars can be okay even though they're processed. But lunch meats, I would say a no to that unless you absolutely have to. And then when you're eating lunch meat, you want to get the ones that are at the deli versus the ones that are packaged in the regular aisle of the grocery stores.
So you mentioned salt in lunch meats. Vivian says charcuterie boards are out.
I'm not going to say they're out. You just have to do it in moderation.
You mentioned the salts in processed foods. What about salt and caffeine? Does that have any impact on your metabolism?
Salt and caffeine?
Yes.
Salt and caffeine don't necessarily affect salt doesn't affect your metabolism, but you do need a healthy amount of salt just to keep your organs working properly, keep your muscles working properly, because salts are and this is going way over probably more than you all need to know, but salts are what help keeps our cells working on, the simplistic level. If you need a certain amount of sodium, a certain amount of potassium, a certain amount of calcium to keep your muscles going, keep your kidneys function. So you don't want to overdo it, because then everything will run crazy. But so you want to be careful with salts. Caffeine can, in a way, affect your metabolism because it kind of makes you feel wired, but more than that, it causes your body to release hormones that may make you not lose weight. Excellent. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, thank you. Vivian, I'm thinking that charcuterie board, you got me thinking like maybe like prime rib or something like that on a charcuterie board. Maybe that would work.
Yeah, pepperoni might not be a good thing. And so
yeah.
Yes, we do. And I think Cassandra will be able to answer that one well because she's done the program before.
Yeah.
But yes, we do offer a regimen of foods.
We do. There's about 80 foods to choose from: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, salty, sweet, you name it. And you eat, in the weight loss phase, you eat 3 of those a day. And then, of course, there's water. There's a lot of vegetables that you're eating. But also, if you've already lost weight, we have some clients that just come in and supplement their diets with additional protein with some of the ideal protein foods. So it just depends on where you are in your weight loss journey. But we have mashed potatoes, we have bread. I particularly like the pancakes. So there are some things that are protein based, high in protein, but they are kind of bready. So they feel like you're eating carbs, but they're actually high in protein. And then Tiffany is asking about the caffeine effect. Maybe a little bit more on that.
I think I kind of didn't explain it effectively. Caffeine can actually be good in weight loss in some regards because it does, and I think I said this, it does increase your metabolism, but caffeine also can reduce your appetite or suppress your appetite some. And caffeine also does have some fat burning properties, not a lot, but it can help with fat burning, burn fat.
I was laughing because Don said the mashed potatoes are the best. They are pretty good considering they're protein mashed potatoes. What about dehydration and caffeine? I know a lot of times we tell our clients, 16 ounces of coffee a day is good, but if you're going to drink more than that, then you need to drink more water.
That is true. So caffeine does have a dehydrating effect because it makes you use the bathroom a lot. It makes you urinate more. So caffeine affects the kidneys by causing you to excrete more. So I always tell people if you're going to drink a lot of caffeine, you should also drink a lot of water to go with it, especially if the caffeine is like energy drinks or pop soda. So you should always drink a lot of water because caffeine is known to be something that dehydrates our body.
Yeah, and I think some of our clients know, not saying any names, that if you drink too much caffeine, sometimes it somehow shields your lean mass, and it looks as though you're not losing, or that you have a higher percent of lean mass, and it's almost like it hides the fat loss or the water loss. So I don't know if you can speak to that, or if that's maybe something for the future, but it's kind of interesting how all of that balances out to impact your biometrics.
I think we should say we can save that for another topic. Yeah. But I also think when we think about caffeine, we have to be careful because usually when we drink caffeine, we're not being healthy with drinking it because we're either having caffeine. Now, if you're taking caffeine pills, that may be different. But I know for me, my caffeine doesn't come from a pill. It comes from either coffee with a bunch of cream and sugar or a soda. So I think when you do it that way, it becomes unhealthy and it kind of is counteracting the benefits of weight loss because you're adding sugar. So yeah, you might be losing weight, but you're gaining it back with the sugar that's in the caffeinated beverage you're having.
And Felicia wants to know about green tea.
So green tea actually is a good source of caffeine to use. If you're not sweetening it with anything, if you're just drinking green tea, it actually is good for weight loss because green tea has a lot of caffeine in it. So a lot of people will even take green tea extract tablets for weight loss. So green tea is good as long as you don't sweeten it.
I'm trying to like tea. I'm trying.
Green tea isn't bad.
Any other questions? This has been great. I've got lots of content for future live sessions, Sandy.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and thanks for your patience. We're still learning how to get that Zoom integrated with Facebook, so we'll get that going the next time. But thanks everyone again for joining. Join our community. Join us on Facebook. Help us grow it, and we'll see you in April for our next Facebook Live. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.